Episode 234, Ultraman Florida with Chris Pollack. This episode is going to be broken up into three different segments. Segment number 1 is going to be the pre-race. Segment number 2 is going to be after day 2. Segment number 3 is going to be after the race. Welcome to the pursuit of the perfect race. I'm Coach Terry Wilson, and with each episode, I bring stories of athletes to you that share their experiences at races in order for you to learn how to have your perfect race. You will hear stories from athletes of all ages, abilities, and races of all distances. So regardless of where you fit in, there's something in it for you. Thanks for spending some time with me today. Now let the pursuit begin. Hey everybody, welcome back to the pursuit of the perfect race. This is going to be a little bit of a different episode because we're going to be talking about Ultraman Florida with Chris Pollack, but we're actually going to be doing this in 3 different sections, and it's all going to be merged into one episode this time, and it's going to be really fun, and I look forward to hearing about Ultraman Florida this year with Chris, and this is the interview that we're doing before the race actually starts. So Chris, welcome to the show. I look forward to following you over the next few days over Ultraman.
Good morning, or good afternoon, I should say. I'm very excited to be on your show this morning.
Hey, you're welcome, man. So what made you want to do this race in the first place, man? This is, I know this is a little bit of a redemption race from last year. Tell me about this.
Yeah, this is my redemption race. Last year I did this race, and on the first day I was literally 100 yards from the finish line, and a vehicle cut me off, and I ended up crashing onto the raceway and ended up separating my shoulder. So after they checked me out, I had got up and we walked across the finish line to stop the clock. Day 2, I couldn't do anything because I was in so much pain. And then day 3, I decided that I wanted to run, so I talked to my crew chief, and I'm a runner by nature. And he said, hey, let's see what we can go. We'll go mile by mile and go from there. And on day 3, I literally had my arms strapped to my body, duct taped and wrapped with ace bandages. And I ran the 52.4 miles in under 12 hours and finished the cutoff time. So this is my redemption race to do the whole thing complete without any injury.
All right. And for those that don't understand what Ultraman is, walk me through the distances.
Okay, the first day of Ultraman, it is a 6.2 mile swim with a 90 mile bike. The second day is a 172 mile bike. And the third day is a double marathon, basically 52.4 mile run.
Wow. So why did you even want to start this race last year and do this iconic race down there in Florida?
It's kind of ironic. It's kind of weird you say that. Is I've got a coach, I call him my coach, training partner, Chad Easker, and he talked me into this race. Literally, we were on the trainers training for another race that he had, and he said, hey, today's the last day to sign up for Ultraman, and he said, sign up, you can do it. And I'm like, no, there's no way I could do this distance. There's physically no way. He goes, you can do it. I've trained with you. You can do it. So we sat down at the computer and signed up for the race, and then all the training began after that. So, I mean, this guy pushes me to the extent of where you think you can't do it, and you always do it because you don't want to let him down, basically.
Wow. So what was it like signing up for Ultraman the first time?
Real nervous. I mean, it was like, it's a huge commitment. You're like, you have so much going through your mind. You're like, can I do this? Am I going to be able to do this swim? Man, I can't even swim 3,000 yards in the pool. How am I going to swim 6.2 miles? You know, then am I going to bike 90 miles? I've never biked 90 miles in my life. I can't even bike 170. I've never gone that distance. So this race here will be 170 miles, and that'll be my longest ride. So you have so much going through your head, but you have to push that all behind you and just take day by day and keep going with your training to build up to where you need to be to get to those days. Wow.
So what was it like really DNFing last year and now knowing that you had to wait another year before you could get this redemption?
It was a long process. I mean, when I got done last year, I was really bummed. I mean, I was like, this is the first race that I've never, ever finished in my life. And I've done a lot of races. It's like, how am I going to get to the next level? How am I going to get fixed so I can get back to finish this race? I was in a slump. I was down on myself and down on everything else. And then finally, after about 4 months, when my shoulder started to heal, I started to pick up everything. I picked up my training. I picked up my endurance. I picked up and started looking at it a little differently, more of trying to get out there and help other people achieve their goals while I'm trying to achieve my goal is what I was trying to do. And I'm a lot stronger this year than last year. I physically know that and mentally know that because I have a different outlook on this whole entire race now.
Wow. So it seems like you went through some depression there.
I did. I was pretty well bummed. I mean, it took me a while to get out of it. I mean, I was 4 or 5 months because I'm a person that has to keep training and keep going. And I didn't have that. And I started to slip in. And it was just like, I didn't even want to go to the Y where I work out. Didn't really want to go there and do anything because everybody else is swimming and all I'm doing is sitting in the hot tub or sitting at the end of the pool doing vertical kicks or whatever I could. And it was tough. It was really, really tough trying to watch everybody else do the workouts when I couldn't do anything.
Man, it's like you're a typical type A person.
I am from the time I get up in the morning till the time I go to bed, I am constant movement. So it was very difficult. And then finally, it started to get better and I started to go little by little. I got across the pool once. Hey, I got across the pool. My shoulder feels better. Don't push it. And then the next day, maybe laps. And then finally, just little by little. And now I'm 100% back to where I should be from previous year.
Wow. So now if we kind of look at it, looking backwards a little bit, how was your training going into this year?
My training from this year, started out with the injury and then I worked into it more and more. And then as I got into more of the training, I started to increase my training a lot more and became more aggressive, more running, more swimming, more biking, sitting on that trainer longer, trying to get acclimated to everything I had. Now I live in Wisconsin, so it's kind of hard to train in January, February, March, December, whatever, out in the winter. So it's basically pool and sitting on a treadmill, running on a treadmill, and sitting on that trainer and just keep riding.
Wow.
So you got a lot of hours.
So what was your longest swim, bike, and runs going into Ultraman? I mean, this is a big distance, lots of volume. Was this a lot of intensity? What does this look like?
So my longest swim was 10,000 yards. I did 3 sets of 10,000 yards for longest swims. And my longest run was a 23-mile run. And my longest bike was 6.5 hours on the bike.
6.5 hours on the bike.
Correct. That's sitting on a trainer, watching Netflix or whatever you got.
You're not like Jamie? You don't just put in some music and call it a day?
No, I've got to watch something. I could not handle music for 6.5 hours. That would drive me crazy.
Oh my goodness. Like I remember her telling me that, and that was like the first real interview. I'm like, holy moly. Like how do you do this?
Yeah, that's just crazy. I don't think I can handle that.
Wow.
You get a couple breaks, you get off there, get something to drink, go to the bathroom, but then you're right back on there and you keep going.
Man. So are you married? Do you have kids? What does this look like?
I am not married. I am single. I have a beautiful daughter, and she is going to college in Coastal Carolina, and she's actually the person that got me into swimming. When I first did my first Ironman, I signed up for Ironman, didn't even know how to swim, and I said to her, Jessica, teach me how to swim. And then that was in November, and then my first race was September the next year, and I got out of the water, and it was a great experience.
Wow.
Yeah.
So as far as strength training and your nutrition going into this race, what does this look like?
Okay, so for strength training, Morgan, you probably know who Morgan is.
I do know Morgan.
I got a hold of Morgan, and I had contacted him because I was impressed on his organization and his personal training, and he sent me a workout for leg strength training, and it kind of take you from basic from one section to the second section to the third section as you grew. And I stuck with that program, and my leg strength is very incredible right now. It's probably the best it's ever been. Nutrition wise, I'm kind of a person of a naturalist, so I don't use a lot of the products that are out there. I'm more of like your Crustables. They sit well in my stomach. I'm the guy that eats pickles all the time. That's my go-to on the bike run. If I can have the pickles and the pickle juice, my cramps, I'll have no cramps whatsoever. They're easy to digest. I do take noon tablets and a couple other stuff here or there, but I'm not big into the actual products that are out there. I like to stick with what the natural stuff is. It works good for me and keeps me going.
Wow. So as far as your confidence right now going into Ultraman this year, what does this look like for you?
I'm very confident in completing day 1, day 2, and day 3, but each one of them has their own, let's say, weakness or challenges for each day. Day 1, it's the 6.2 mile swim. You get out, you bike 90. Water temp right now is a little cooler. I want to ride across that finish line on day 1. I walked across last year. So this year, my goal is to just ride across that finish line and be done with day 1. After that, then I guarantee you my energy level and my excitement level for day 2 is going to be skyrocketing. I'm going to want to get out there and get on that bike and go. Thing is, I'm just going to have to back it down because 170 miles on a bike is a long day. No doubt about it. I want to try to save my legs for that run. I have a goal in mind for the run, and my crew knows what my goal is. So I'm just going to try to meet that goal. If not, hey, as long as I get there before the 12 hours, that's perfect. I made the cutoff. I finished the race.
So what's the goal?
I'd like to run 9:30s for the whole entire thing.
Wow.
And I think I can do that. I physically think I can do that. And the crew knows they're going to rotate people in to make sure that they are fresh so I can continue at that. My goal is to continue this race continuously. We're not going to stop. It's going to be, for the run part, it's going to be constant movement. So last year we stopped, we ate, whatever we did. We're going to feed along the run and try to keep that goal so we can reach that 9:30 pace.
Wow. So do you feel like this is going to be an emotional day when you finish day 1?
Yeah.
Why's that?
Because of last year, I really wanted to finish the race last year. Excuse me. So getting across the first day is going to be so hard. But I know I can do it. And I believe that there are going to be a lot of people there to watch you do it.
It means a lot to you.
A lot. It means an absolute lot to me.
Wow.
And as you can tell right now, I am at the corner.
Yeah, man. I'm where you're crying, man.
It's, tomorrow morning will be tough. But I will get there. I will get across that finish line. And then day 2 will be ready to go. So, it's emotional. Yeah, my emotions are super high right now. And I got a lot of people pulling for me. And that's the key. You've got your crew, you've got friends, you've got people just wanting you to get there. And it's not that I feel like I'm going to let them down. It's more personal to me than anything to just finish that first day. And then after that, like I said, it'll all be behind me. And then I can continue to do the last 2 days and take it day by day and get to that finish line. So yeah, it's huge motion right now. I mean, tomorrow morning when I wake up, yeah, it'll be tough. And then when I get there, probably everybody will be like, hey, let's get this done. And we're just going to keep it going. So if I can stay focused, once I get out of the water, I'm sure I will. It's just a matter of just keep going little by little, day by day, hour by hour, click it down. Last year, it was so much fun. I mean, my crew chief, Craig, he's doing the race this year. So I wish him the best of luck. And he did a great job for me, kept me on focus, kept me going to where I needed to be. And it felt like it was a training ride. I mean, we were at mile 60 and he's like, oh my God, I can't believe you're smiling still. I'm like, this is so much fun. There's no pressure. It's not like an Ironman where where you're trying to race against everybody. Yeah, you're racing against, 44 other people, but I don't care where I finish. I don't care if I finish dead last. I don't care if I finish first. I just need to get across that finish line to complete this race, put it behind me, and find the next one that's going to push me even further.
Wow. But what does this actually mean for you to do this race and finish it? What does it mean for you?
It means a sense of accomplishment. I mean, I've put a lot of training in, a lot of hours, a lot of time away from people. People want to go out, whatever. I mean, like, I can't. I got to sit on a trainer. I got to do this. I mean, you put a lot behind you. This is not like an Ironman race. I mean, your training and everything else is just incredible. I mean, you put off so much. I mean, I have a full-time job. So I have a full-time job, and then after work, I'm doing all the training that I need to do to get it in. I get up at 3:00 every single morning, and I'm at the Y by 5:00, get 2 hours of training in, go to work, come back home. I teach spin classes, and then I also do whatever else I have to do to get my workouts in. So it's jam-packed from the time I get up to the time I go to bed. It's people don't understand a race like this is so much work and so much mental. You have to put a lot behind you mentally too. There's days you get up where you don't want to do something. You're just like, oh man, I don't want to do that, but you have to, because it's going to get you to your final goal.
Wow. So how do you actually push through all these bad days to get to the workouts?
I'm very determined. I'm a very determined person, and I set my goals very high. As a lot of my friends know that I have those high goals. But, there's days that I'm out there, even with my high goals, I'm trying to help somebody else achieve their goal. Swim with me. I'll work with you or whatever. I'll take, part of the day out and help them train. And then I'll make up the rest of my day somewhere else, but, and I've learned that it's not about me anymore. It's about, helping somebody else. But this race here, this one is for me to finish this race. I just love it. I love the endurance part of it. When I first started back into this, I was overweight. I was 226 pounds and saw a picture of myself, and I was like, holy cow, you're huge. And I started working out again, started running again, and dropped all the weight, and then got into triathlon. And I love the triathlon. I was a marathon runner. I ran 36 marathons, and I just love the triathlon part of it. It just keeps pushing you. It's hard to explain. It's an addiction to me. It's a huge addiction to me.
Wow. So what was your taper like going into this race?
That's kind of weird because my taper is, like I just got done swimming 2,000 yards. That'll be my last swim before tomorrow when we start this race. I kind of keep going. I feel my body will let me keep going. I don't take, full days off or.
So you're a streaker.
I am. I had a running streak up until last year when I had my accident. I had 1,638 days of continuous running.
How many?
1,638. And then I had the accident, and then I lost my streak. So I haven't started the streak back up again.
That's like 5 years.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I didn't miss a day. I mean, there's days I had root canals and I would run. I was sick and I would run. You have to run a mile or more each day in order for it to count. So, and that day that I had the accident, it ended.
Wow. So the race took something from you.
Yep.
Because you were going to go run a mile later that day, more than likely.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I would have ran that day right after the race to get it in because I wouldn't have had to run that day because it was a swim and a bike. So this is huge. So I'm taking back this race So it's personal.
So are you going to start your streak again tomorrow?
I might.
Oh.
That's one of my goals that I haven't shared with anybody. So it's very possible that that's going to start all over again.
Wow, on the 1-year anniversary that it was taken.
Correct.
That's pretty awesome, man.
Yep.
Man, so the emotions are very high. Like, we can't really talk much without like getting too much in the weeds, man. This is freaking crazy.
So I got a lot. I personally have a lot riding on this for myself. It's me. That was tough. I mean, I had that for the longest time, and it was like, oh man, it just ended it. I even wanted to get up the next day with my shoulder that was hurting, excruciating, just to get out and do it again, but I couldn't. There was no way. But then,
could you have walked a mile and that counted?
No, you got to run the mile.
You have to run the mile.
Yeah. So then that's was, I'm a runner. I'm a natural runner. So then it was like day 3. I'm like, Craig, we got to run. Just let me run. He goes, man, you're going to hurt just keep me up. I don't care. I don't care if can't move. And then I got out there and I ran. But then after that, there was no running after that day. It was rehab, trying to go find out what was going on. How bad was the separation? It was a level 1 separation. So, there's a lot of rehab in that.
I don't know what level 1 separation means.
Oh, that's kind of on the lower end. It didn't have to have surgery. It was all basically just getting it to build that muscle back up, get that scar tissue out of there, and get it back to where you're able to use it.
Wow. So talk a little bit about the wreck that actually happened last year. What happened in that?
Okay, so I'm 100 yards, literally 100 yards from the finish line.
Eyesight away.
I can see the finish line. Okay. A vehicle, a pickup truck, didn't see me coming in, and he decided to make a right-hand turn and was going into a parking area off on the side. And I think he was focused on his rider or whatever case may be. Long story short is I swerved around him. I didn't hit the vehicle, but swerved around him, came around the front of the truck. And as I came back, I hit the sand that was there, and the sand grabbed my front tire, and literally I went over the top, right over the handlebars, still clipped into the bike. The bike hit the pavement, slid out into the area, and nobody saw what happened because there was a box truck that was parked there or where it was. So all of a sudden they saw my bike come out into the area, and there's no Chris. So then everybody started running, and there I was laying in the road, and I was in excruciating pain with my shoulder. They got me off to the side. They checked me out. And then Chuck, the race coordinator, says, we got to get him across the finish line to stop the clock. Then we can take him to the hospital or whatever. So I got up, walked across the finish line with Chuck, stopped the clock. And then after that, I went to the hospital and they started checking me out.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, so you live in Wisconsin. You were living in Wisconsin last year. Did you have to worry about insurance or anything like that? Because, I mean, that's my first thought is, oh, my gosh, you're going to the ER. This is going to be astronomical fees.
So before your races, you have take medical cards and all that. There's a waiver signed and all of that. So all my insurance stuff covered me while I was down here in Florida. And then, the bills come in after that or whatever, insurance pays whatever. So they have all that information ahead of time. And then when they got to the hospital, they take care of you there. And, it took a while for them to figure out exactly what was going on. Then I got back and I had some x-rays done, some MRIs done to see how bad it was. And it didn't need surgery, which was really good because I was really scared I was going to need surgery and then really take me out of the game. But your insurance, if you got insurance, it covers a lot of it. So that's good. You still have out-of-pocket deductibles.
Right. So fast forward to this year, you're already down in Orlando. Today was the day before the race, right at February 14th, Valentine's Day. What's it like going to the check-in process this year and knowing that this is going to actually happen tomorrow?
Check-in process today was our official meeting we had today where they introduced all the athletes, and some of the athletes that knew me from last year were kind of kidding me, and there's 3 of them that I know very well that said, Chris, when you leave out of the water on the bike, there's a cone on your right. Don't hit it. And then when you come back in, there's going to be a cone on your right. Don't hit the cone, and then the finish line is right there. So they're jabbing it. Hey, don't cause any accidents. You're going to be this close to the finish line. And there were a couple other people there. One of the things is when they introduced me, I mean, everybody knows my story, so it was kind of like, holy cow, it was overwhelming how many people, good luck, let's get it done this year, hey, you don't have your sling on. I have never seen you without a sling on, so there was a lot of jabbing and stuff like that, but it was good. The process is really good. The race officials, Jen and Chuck, I mean, outstanding. They run a great show, love him to death, and they're very excited to see me complete this race for tomorrow too.
Wow. So how was the process of actually, I mean, obviously your emotions are high, but
super high.
Whenever you got there today, did you kind of like get the butterflies in your stomach of, oh my gosh, I'm really doing this? Or were you just kind of like, okay, feels like normal again?
No, the nerves are there. Trust me, the nerves are there. I mean, it's like, they're still going over all the rules, and you've got 100 different things running through your head. The course is different this year, so it's not the same as last year. We're in a different lake this year. There are currents in this lake. Nobody knows where the currents are, if it's a good current or a bad current pushing you in. There's a lot of emotion and a lot of nervousness right now. I'll get some sleep, but I'll tell you, it's not going to be a lot of sleep tonight because I'm going to have so much stuff going through my head tonight. And then once we get up in the morning and get out there, I'll settle down. I guarantee it'll settle down, get in that water, get a little acclimated to that water temperature, and then off we go. It's game time.
Man. So what bike are you using?
I use a Cervelo P5 is what I have. Love the bike. It's quick. It's me. I feel very comfortable on that bike. I rode that last year, and surprisingly, all I had was just a couple scratches on my right brake from the accident. My guys took it over to Orange Cycle, and they checked it out, and it was all good in case I could ride the next day. But my P5, it fits me really well. I love it a lot. It's quick.
So what's your nutrition been like today? What was your breakfast, lunch, and what's going to be for dinner?
Breakfast was, today we had the meeting over there. We had bacon, we had eggs, we had coffee, we had juice, stuff like that. And then for dinner tonight, we're going to have spaghetti. Lunch, we had sloppy joes. We're going to have a big pot of spaghetti is what we're going to have. So that's what our dinner is going to be for tonight.
Wow. So I know you know Rich, Morgan, and Jamie, and there's a bunch of other folks like Julie in there that I'm sure we both all know.
Yep.
Are y'all going to do a shot of Fireball?
I don't know. That would be nice. So we'll see what they're doing. I don't know.
I know Morgan's there.
Here just in case. So
yeah, Morgan's there, and we did a shot before Marine Corps, so it's like his tradition. So if you're around him, he'll make sure of it.
Oh, I'm sure he will.
Man. So as far as we've covered everything about the pre-race that we can really cover, what else do you want to add to your thoughts before the race? How are you feeling overall going into it?
Overall, I'm feeling really good, real confident. I put the training in. I'm confident I can complete this race to the full extent. But like I said, it's day by day. The factors change and everything like that. And if something should come up and encounter, I'll just keep going with whatever it is. And we're going to move forward to make sure that every single day is a complete day and get to that finish line on day 3.
Wow. Well, man, I'll talk to you soon, and we will catch up about how day 1 and day 2 goes, and then day 3.
Sounds good. Appreciate it very much.
Hey, good luck, and I look forward to seeing you get through day 1, man.
All right, sounds good. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, have a good one.
All right, thanks.
Bye. Hey, everybody. I am continuing the interview with Chris Pollack. We are currently on day 2 of Ultraman, Florida this year. He's already done the 10K swim, the 93-mile bike ride, or is it 90 miles?
90-mile bike.
Yes, the 90-mile bike ride. And then today he rode 173 miles?
Correct.
All right. Yep. And we're just going to continue the conversation right in the middle of Ultraman here, man. So how was day 1?
Day one was good. Water temperature, I believe, was like 65 degrees when we got out there, and it was absolutely glass. The water was absolutely glass, what made the day even better. There was no waves, no chop, no nothing, and took off, and took you a little bit to get your face acclimated to the cool weather, and then the cool water, I should say, and then we started out. And I finished 4 hours and 17 minutes later. And the one nice thing was kind of interesting is the sun started coming out later on in the day. And as you turned to breathe, you were into the sun. So you got a warm face, then you got a cold face, then you got a warm face, then you got a cold face. So it was kind of interesting how that actually played out. But swim went really well for the first part.
Wow. So what was this like? Waking up after we had just talked, basically, did you get much sleep? Did you sleep good, deep? What was this like?
I tossed and turned. My bedtime was 8:00. No phone, no nothing. They took everything away from me, so I couldn't text anybody, call anybody, or whatever.
They being your crash crew.
That's my crash. Yeah, my crash crew. I quarantined my phone, so they wouldn't let me touch anything. They wanted me to sleep. And I think I finally got to bed about 9:30, 9:45 when I actually looked at the clock. And that's the last time I looked at it. And then I finally fell asleep. It was a lot of anxiety, a lot of thoughts, going through my head on, I just need to get through day one, get through it and finish something that I started last year. I knew what day one was like, but you still have to do it all over again. That's the biggest thing. You got the 6.2 mile swim, and that's not an easy task. I mean, it's just, constant that you have to go. So.
Wow. So you got up on race morning of day one. What was for breakfast, and what was your morning ritual like?
Breakfast, I had a protein shake and 2 English muffins, and then my crew chief made scrambled eggs for me. So that was my breakfast for the day before I went out for swimming. I have that every single morning, minus the eggs, English muffins with peanut butter on them, and protein shake, and off I go. That's my normal morning breakfast.
Nice. You have coffee?
No, I didn't have any coffee. I didn't want to get too jittery out there. I'm going to save the coffee for day 3 for the run. Maybe a little shot of a Red Bull there.
Okay. So you got up, you got ready, you headed down to where the quote unquote transition area is, which is basically a parking lot with some racks that isn't really like an changing area. I mean, I think they have like a little pop-up tent you can use.
Well, this was actually pretty nice, this facility where we're at, because there was a pavilion there. And it's absolutely beautiful pavilion. There's bathrooms. The bathrooms are really nice in there. So if you needed to change, you could go in there, and you had really nice facilities to go to the bathroom. It wasn't like a porta potty sitting out in the middle of nowhere. And they had a rack set up, but it was very professionally done this year. It was very nice.
So it's different than last year for sure then.
Yeah, different than last year. Last year's swim, we were in a little itty bitty, like a boat launch area, probably maybe, I want to say 50, 75 feet wide, and it was packed. I mean, it was, everybody's got their bikes on a rack there. And this year it was wide open, which was really nice. Everybody got to mingle around and talk to all the other athletes before the beginning of the race.
Wow. So you get down to the swim entrance area where your bike is. All the crews are there. All the racers. What is this atmosphere like for you?
It's exciting. It is. It's absolutely exciting. I mean, it's different than doing an Ironman race. Your Ultraman race is like family. I mean, some of the people knew me from last year. Other people didn't do it, but everybody's wishing everybody good luck. Hey, see you at the finish, and shaking hands and hugging and everything like that. And it's just one big family. It's hard to explain. But once you come to one of these events, you'll understand what I'm talking about. I mean, the people are absolutely amazing. They'll help you out if you forgot something or whatever. Everybody's always there for everybody else. And it's the same thing when you're on the bike. other people can crew for you. So if someone missed something or you dropped a water bottle, you could stop at another vehicle and they would help you out and then you could continue on the race. So that's the kind of rules that are in this race, that it's a team effort. It's a family effort.
Wow. That's pretty awesome. I mean, I kind of understood this coming from the interviews last year, and I'm friends with Morgan, Rich, and Jamie, and I know Morgan's down there just having a ball on Facebook, putting everybody up on there. But
yeah.
As far as your nervousness and excitement before the race actually started, what was this like?
You get the nerves, you get the butterflies, you get the anxiety. A lot's going through your head,
Well, what was going through your head?
What was going through my head is the cold water. I got in the water early and got my face into the water. And what you're supposed to do is you blow bubbles to get your face acclimated to the cool temperature. So I was probably in there for about 10 minutes, I would say, trying to get my face ready for that cold blast of water. And then finally, it was almost go time, and got in the water and just headed out. Anxiety wise, it was just like, okay, I got to get through this. It's 6.2 miles. It's not an easy task. It's going to be all day. Towards about mile, I'd say 5, my shoulders started to get a little tired from just doing all the swimming. And then I talked to my Rob, who was in the canoe. He was, following me. I said, okay, how far out are we? What do we got left? And he says, we've got probably about maybe less than an hour to go. And he says, you're mid-pack right now, or a little back to the mid-pack. And I said, oh, okay, that's all I needed to hear. So then I started to pick up my pace as I started coming in. And I think he said I passed 4 or 5 people on the way in, which, is a rush for you, because you look to the right and also you see the other kayaks, and all of a sudden you start passing them. You start moving in, you start going in. But I'll tell you what, that shore looked like it was still forever way out there as you're swimming. Every time I looked up, I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even think I got any further. And then finally started getting closer and closer and closer. And then finally grabbed a handful of sand that I knew was close to shore and got out of the water and got across that finish line for the swim.
Nice. So did you eat in the water?
Yeah. So what happens is you have food in the kayak. So I had Snickers, I had potato chips, I had, what else did I have in there? I had a Pop-Tart. So you want quick energy is what you want. Something that keeps you going. Had chicken broth. I had water and a little bit of Gatorade is what I had for the kayak for eating. Little small Snickers, they work great for you. It's quick energy, and just kept you going. So about every, let's see, I think we had it down to every 20 minutes or every half hour, depending on if I was in a groove. If I was in a groove, he let me go, but he cut me off at a half hour, and then he fed me so I could make sure that I could keep going.
Wow. So how was this feeling whenever you were getting out of the water going to your bike? Because you had been horizontal for over 4 hours, and then all of a sudden you're just going, poof, now I'm walking again. Like,
yeah.
Was this anxiety, or was there any type of weirdness there? What was this like?
So as I get out of the water, we took off my wetsuit, and I told my crew, I just have to walk around a little bit to get my legs ready for this bike ride. So I probably walked around, I'd say maybe 3-4 minutes, and then changed into my gear, and then walked around a little more to get the legs going, and then finally got onto the bike and got ready to go, and off I went. But yeah, coming out of that water, man, it's like, you do some kicking in the water, but it's not like you're walking. Your legs aren't used to that. You want to get everything motivated to keep going again. Reactivated basically is what you want to do, because if you don't, man, it's gonna be a tough day out there on that bike.
Right. So for someone that's going to be doing Ultraman in the future, what's one piece of advice that you would give them for tackling a 6.2 mile swim?
A lot of practice, either the pool or wherever you live. Sadly, in Wisconsin, so all mine was pool time. So basically for month of January, I swam 53,600 and some odd yards, which equates to about 30 miles of swimming for the month of January. I upped it for January to get ready for the February. But the more pool time you have, the better off you're going to be. You want to do at least 1 or 2 long swims. And the maximum swims that I did were 10,000 yards. So I knew that the other 1,000 yards was, a piece of cake to get through. And that was the maximum that I did. So if you can get to that point, then you'll know you'll be able to finish the swim.
Okay. So you get out of T1 here basically on day 1, head out for the 90-mile bike ride. It's not even the full Ironman distance. It's not even a century, but it's still quite a ways. How are you feeling going into this?
Felt real excited. And although I did it the last year, the course was different this year. So didn't know, all the turns, didn't know any of that. And I just started clipping off 10 miles at a time. So we're at 10, then 20, then 30. My crew fed me probably every 10 miles, somewhere in there. I took in about 300 calories every single time we stopped. Now, you burn a lot more than that, but you can only process maximum of 300 calories while you're riding. It sounds kind of weird. We're burning a lot more than that, but your body can only take in 3, and you'll be able to sustain that distance as you do that if you keep going up with the 300 calories.
Right.
So on the bike, it was just like, I'm enjoying the view. It was heavy traffic. The first day was heavy traffic.
Really?
You're on some, like, if you want to call them highways, you've got semis passing, you've got dump trucks passing, you got constant traffic all the time. So, some of them semis come by you, they kind of rock you a little bit, but you hang on and you keep going. So it's not a close course. This is not a close course at all. It's all open road for the whole entire 3 days.
Wow. Now, tell me about the foot down policy.
Okay, so you have to abide by every single traffic rule that's there. Stop sign, when you come to a stop sign, you have to unclip, step on the ground with 1 foot, and then you can continue on. Traffic lights, the same exact thing. Crosswalks are the same thing. If you come to a crosswalk, there was one where we had to go across 3 lanes of traffic. So the 3 lanes of traffic was really hectic. So you could either, if the traffic was clear, you could come across. Otherwise, you had to go to a crosswalk, and then you could either ride your bike across when the crosswalk changed to green, or you could walk it across, one of the two. So every single rule of the road, you have to abide by if you were actually a car. So stop signs, the whole entire thing. But you have to unclip, and you have to put 1 foot down and then continue on.
And not just a rolling stop either.
No, there's no rolling stops. You will get penalized 6 minutes. So you get 6-minute penalties. The third penalty, you're disqualified.
Wow. And because I saw the checklist of what they were doing, and like they had people with stop signs just waiting.
They wait for you. And sometimes those people at stop signs, you don't even know they're there because they're down the road a little bit, and they're looking to see if you're actually stopping at the stop signs. Wow. Yep.
So how are you feeling as far as fatigue, cramps, GI issues? Were you having anything like that?
Today was a little, at the end of the day, my thighs.
No. I'm talking about day 1.
Day 1? Day 1, I was perfect, man. It was spot on. I got to that finish line after that ride. It was just absolutely perfect. I didn't have any fatigue. I got a massage at the end of it. And, the gal there, put some magnesium on me, and it worked out absolutely perfect. I woke up fresh in the morning. I was ready to go.
Wow.
Didn't have any cramps, nothing.
So on day 1, how are the hills on the course?
Day one was pretty flat. Day 1 was pretty flat. There was just some minor hills in there. I don't know what the elevation was exactly. But it was a pretty flat course for day 1. But there weren't a lot of downhills or anything, so you were actually riding all day. You didn't get that open road where you're coming down a hill and you can just coast down a hill. There was really none of that whatsoever. So it was constant riding all day long.
Wow. So as far as your nutrition plan, you nailed that. Did you use chamois cream or anything like that? Because you're going to be wanting to get ahead of that game.
The chamois cream I use on that, and I probably put it on 3 or 4 times throughout the day. I could always tell when I started to feel like I was, needed it, and then put that on. A lot of salt intake yesterday because of the warmer weather that was out there. It actually warmed up more than what people had expected, and just up my water intake, my Gatorade intake. The one thing I usually do is my crew, I use Pedialyte. So Pedialyte is the number one thing for electrolytes. I don't use any Gatorade or anything like that. It works amazing, and it keeps your body going constantly for it. Now they cut it back just a little bit, and then Rob on my crew, he added some bay salt to it, and just to make sure that if I wasn't taking any in on the bike, that I had enough in me to keep going.
Okay. So how was the atmosphere with other competitors? Did you pass a lot of people? Did you get past a lot on the bike? What was this like?
I passed a couple of people, but then once everybody finds their groove, it's basically everybody's out at their the pace or whatever they are. I mean, a couple of people passed me coming out of the water that were, better bikers, and I don't chase anybody. I let them go. I run my own race. If you start chasing people, you're going to end up just burning yourself out. There's no reason to it. I'm not out to take first, and I don't care if I take last. I just need to finish. So basically, you run your own race. There's some people out there that were really quick. I mean, really, really quick. I mean, it was surprising to see their times from when you got back in. But basically, there's no drafting. You can't draft off anybody. You can stay behind them for a little bit, but then you've got to take that and you got to go past them and then continue on. So I leapfrogged with a couple people 3 or 4 times. Otherwise, I think sometimes on the open road there was nobody there, and you're wondering at that point, am I going the right way? Because there's no markings out there, and you're kind of looking around, and all of a sudden you get to a point that, there's a sign. Okay, Ultraman, turn this way or whatever. And then your crew is up ahead, and they keep you going, and then they keep you feeding.
Wow. So mentally, how hard was day 1 for you?
Day 1 wasn't that bad mentally. It was more of, I just wanted to finish day 1 and get it under my belt and get it done, and finish upright on the bike. I didn't want to have to, end up going to the hospital or anything. So you come around this one turn and you can see the pavilion, and I just took it as easy as I could. I didn't care where my time was, made the left-hand turn into it, and it was emotional. It was just like, oh my gosh, I did it. And then everybody that knew my story from last year came over, gave me a hug, and it was very, very cool. I mean, there were a lot of people there that were excited to see me actually cross the finish line and get it done with.
Wow. So how was it to finish? I mean, was this emotional for you?
It wasn't at the finish line, but I'll tell you what, probably about a quarter mile out, all the emotion, knowing that I was going to finish this, hit me.
Really?
So yeah, it was, yeah. I mean, I was in tears rolling in, and I wanted to compose myself by the time I got to the finish line. And it was just a rush. I'm like, oh my God, I did it. I actually got to the finish line without having any problems or anything like that. And then, like they said, I made that turn and I had the biggest smile on my face, and I was just so excited.
Wow. That's pretty awesome, man. So after you finish, you got a massage, you got some food, and I know we texted a little bit back and forth with me and Keith. And then how did you sleep last night? Because
last night out, I was absolutely out. I went to bed at 8:00, and the next thing I knew, my alarm was going off. I was unconscious, absolutely unconscious.
So what did you eat yesterday after you got off the bike?
Yes. Yesterday we had tacos, we had spaghetti, what else did we have? We had tacos, spaghetti, and sloppy joes. So I just ate everything I could just to get all the calories in that I could. And Gatorade, I had for Gatorade, water, and chocolate milk my go-to. So I had chocolate milk. And I actually had an ice cream before I went to bed too.
Man, all the food.
Yeah, I ate everything.
Man.
Everything.
So you went to bed, slept like a rock. You got up this morning, and then you're like, okay, I have to ride 173 miles today. How was that mentally, knowing that you have this daunting task of not only riding 173 miles, but doing something you were supposed to do last year that you weren't able to?
It was a lot of mental today.
Really?
Yeah, it was a lot of mental today because I've never rode 170 miles at all, even in a training ride or anything like that. I mean, it's a long day. So I got there and I'm just like, oh my gosh. And I actually thinking to myself, am I going to be able to do 170 miles? I have no idea what it feels like. Is my body going to be able to keep up with me? And then all of a sudden I saw a sign that said halfway, and I didn't realize I was halfway already. And I'm like, oh wow, this is further than I thought that I was going to be at this point, and just continued to ride. And my crew kept me fed, kept me watered, hydrated through the whole entire thing. They started having some fun, made me laugh a couple times.
They found a llama.
What's that?
They found a llama.
They found a llama. I got chased by a pit bull, and that dog was quick. Holy cow, that dog was quick. And then there's these canopy trees, and then I had a snake fall on my neck as I was riding. So that was kind of
what?
Yeah, I thought it was a stick, and then all of a sudden, I had my neck down, and all of a sudden it fell right on the back of my neck. And then I grabbed it right away, and I looked at it, and it was a snake, and I just pulled it off, and I threw it onto the ground, and I just kept riding. Now, snakes don't bother me, so it was just like I didn't expect that. It came out of nowhere. It was in the trees, and then it fell. It was pretty incredible.
Oh my God. I would have had a freaking heart attack. Like, I would have died right there. I guarantee it. I hate snakes. Nope. Can't do it.
It was interesting, I'll tell you that.
Say what?
It was interesting.
Like, I've heard of a lot of crap on this podcast, but a snake falling on somebody's neck during a bike ride, during a race, that's up there. Like,
it was. I didn't expect it. I thought it was like a branch or a leaf or something like that until I looked up, and I was like, holy crap, it's a snake. And then I just threw it down and I just kept riding.
I would have ended up in a ditch. Straight up. No.
So I continued to ride, and I think around with 30 miles to go, I pulled over, told my crew, it's fun time. Let's have some fun. I know now that I'll be able to make that last 30 miles. But this course was super hilly. The first part of this race, the first part of the day too, was super, super hilly. I mean, it was like, when are the hills going to go? Because you do out and back. So you're going out on the hills and you're coming back on the hills. And, I don't know how many miles. I want to say we probably had 30 miles of hills. Now, people think that Florida's flat. No, Florida's not flat. This particular area we were in was very hilly. And I mean, you're down in your lowest gear trying to get up the hill, and then you're maxed out going down the hill. I'm curious to see what my data is for how fast I actually went down. There's one hill called Sugarloaf, and that's a really steep hill. So this year we had to go up the Sugarloaf and then come back down Sugarloaf. Going back up was actually easier than I thought it was going to be. And coming back down, I think I probably maxed out around 48 or 49 miles an hour to give you an idea how steep that hill is. Wow.
So I know you wanted to hit a goal power on the bike of 165, 170. Did you hit that?
I did. I was, for the first day I was a little hot, and I was at 175. And today I was actually right around 156. When we found out where I was going to finish time-wise, Rob, who was watching my watts very closely, told me, start backing it down. You don't need to keep going. Let's save your legs for tomorrow. Tomorrow's the run. You keep going. You're going to be in under 12 hours. Don't worry about it. And like I told him, I don't care where I finish time-wise. So he said, back it down. And I ended up with, I think 156. I think I was actually at 171 at one time. So I was within the goal where I needed to be.
Perfect. So mentally, I know there's a lot of crews out there, a lot of bikes out there, but there's also a lot of alone time.
There is a lot of alone time.
How did you deal with this mentally? Did you have any breakdowns out there, bad spots, dark places? What does this look like?
There's a couple times out there. It was just like, there's nobody out there and the wind is in your face and it was blowing pretty strong today. And you're like, is that wind ever going to stop? Just give me a break somewhere along the way. Before the race, I put a lot of tunes in my head. I listened to a lot of music before I got out there. So I started running through a lot of music out there.
But now you're not saying you're listening to music because you can't do that.
No, but the songs were in my head.
Yeah.
So I started singing those songs or whatever to keep my mind off of what I was doing out there. Lot of friends start coming into your head on how you know help them or they help you throughout the training period and stuff like that. And sometimes some of that got a little emotional for me.
Really?
Yeah. It is like without these people, I wouldn't be here right now. Helping me achieve this goal. So bike rides with certain people and just having talks with them and conversations with them really helped out a lot.
Wow. So what about today should we actually talk about that we haven't mentioned yet?
About today?
Yeah.
I finished day 2.
Well,
that's in the books.
Yeah. Well, I'm talking to you and I know that. So, I mean, what did we kind of leave out on day 2 so far?
What did we leave out on day 2?
Make sure we hit on anything. I mean, he rode 173 miles today. I mean,
that's a long ride.
How much chamois cream did you go through?
I went through half a tube today. That's a lot. And you just got to keep adding it. Otherwise, you're going to get chafed beyond chafe. And I've learned that through Ironmans, and I didn't believe in it. I'm like, I don't need that stuff. Yeah, it's my number one go-to. When I pulled up to my crew, hey, bring the chamois cream. I need it. Simple as that. On, here you go. Wipe my hands. Let's go.
Now, were you peeing on the bike?
No, I didn't pee on the bike, but I'll tell you what, when I stopped, I think I peed probably 7 times today. So I was perfectly hydrated for this race. And it was like, we pull in and all of a sudden I'm like, you got to hold my bike. I got to go to the bathroom. I can't hold it anymore. So then you go over on the side of the van and, take a leak and then get back out. They feed you. They brought me a ton of food. And I stayed there probably, 5 minutes, maybe 6 minutes at a time sometimes. Ate my pickles, needed to do, and then off I went.
Wow. So let's see here. What was it like coming into the finish shoot of day 2?
Finish shoot of day 2 was awesome. I wasn't emotional at all. I came around the turn, I saw the pavilion, and I got excited. I'm like, yeah, I'm here. I have got day 2 in my belt. One more day to go, and I'll be an Ultraman. So I came around that turn, and I was just excited. I mean, absolutely excited. And everybody there at the finish line gave me a big hug. I mean, there was, 5 or 6 hugs that I got from people. The race director, Chuck, and then Jen, and then everybody else, my friends that were there, said, you did it. That's one more day to go.
Wow. So the last 100 yards of the bike on day 2, paint the picture for what it's like to be there finishing in your eyes. Like, what do you see? What's around you? Paint the picture of like what I want to actually visualize this. What does this look like?
Okay. So, there's a big blow up Ultraman. What do you want to call it? Canopy or arch. Yeah. Arch. And you come around this turn and it's literally probably maybe I'd say 200, 300 feet from when you make the turn. You got the clock there. You've got everybody standing around there. You've got the photographer who's right in the middle there. And there's no reason to rush in. You've already finished it. And just take your time in. As you start getting closer, you start seeing everybody smile. And the excitement on their face for you. It's just, it's overwhelming at times, but it's so amazing to have that huge of a, if I'll call it the family, their presence waiting for you to get there to make sure that you finish that race. And once you cross it, you still have that excitement. I mean, I was still excited for, and I still am as I talk to you right now. It was just absolutely amazing to actually cross that finish line and then see your name go up on the board with your finish time and what place you're in on the leaderboard.
Wow. So after you finished day 2, what'd you do next? I know we're talking here literally probably less than 5 hours after you finished day 2. What's this like now?
Just got back, actually just a little bit ago. And I'll take a shower and I'm going to eat some dinner and I'm going to go to bed.
What's for dinner?
We got rotisserie chicken, potatoes, and I don't know what else they're making. They're making something else. So vegetables, probably what we'll have. Tomorrow morning is a 6:00 start. So we've got to be there earlier, and make sure that everybody's up. So this morning I got up early and I'm like, okay, we're going to leave at 5:00. I told everybody that, and it's 22 and nobody's up. I'm like, okay. So I start knocking on doors and wake everybody up. And well, they set their alarm for PM instead of AM. So yeah. So if I wouldn't have woke them up, they would have still been sleeping and we would have been late. So it was kind of funny. So I told the guys tonight, make sure you set your alarms for AM and not PM.
Right. So I actually have an alarm clock that I actually travel with for races. Anybody that knows me knows that this green thing is the devil. Like, it's called the Screaming Meanie. It's like 180 decibels or some shit. Like, it runs on a 9-volt battery. You look at your watch or your phone saying, okay, that's the time. You check the time. All right, that's the time. And then you just go however you want to set it. And you can put it on low, medium, or high. Race days, it goes on high. I'm not sleeping through it. Like, there is... nobody within 4 rooms of me will sleep through it. I guarantee it. Like, that's one of the ones where you wake up and it's instant heart attack because it's so loud. Like,
I think I need to get those for these guys.
It's $30. $30 well spent. Like,
my good Christmas gift for them.
Yeah, like, I mean, this is one of the ones where, like, you know, like, you always get this race day nerves of, am I going to sleep through my alarm clock? You don't have that with this. You can go dead sleep and it's okay. It will wake you up. You're good. So right now, how would you rate your soreness of your legs and body overall?
My quads are a little sore. I'm not going to kid you on that. I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being real sore, I'd probably say they're probably about a 4 or 5, but I'm going to roll them out and I think they'll be good to go in the morning. I got one little calf issue on my right side, so I'll roll that out as well. Otherwise, my shoulders and neck hurt, but after I got the massage, they settled down pretty good. I mean, that's a long time to keep your head in aero position like that and, you know, have your head up and your shoulders really get sore.
Wow. Well, I wish you good luck tomorrow, and we'll talk after tomorrow's finish line and after all that fun running that you're going to get to do tomorrow.
I can't wait. I'm very excited to do it and get it done.
Wow. So how's your confidence going into tomorrow?
My confidence level is real high. I want to try to reach my goal of 9:30s. I already told my crew that that's where I'd like to be, but it's supposed to be hotter tomorrow. So that might be a big factor because I'm not a very hot weather runner. 60s are where I really love to run. So we'll just keep going and see what happens. Yeah, I got 12 hours to finish tomorrow. I mean, that doesn't seem like a long time, but it actually is. And if we pace it right, we should have no problem hitting that finish line.
Wow. So what's the plan for pacing? Are you going to go 9:30 from the gun? Or are you going to start at 10 and then ease into it?
Yeah, I'm going to start around 10, 10:15, somewhere in there. And then we'll see how the morning goes and then maybe increase it a little later in there. Or depending on the weather, if it's cooler in the morning, maybe we'll get our mileage in first at a faster pace and then slow it down on the backside. So I haven't really thought about that too much. I just have to wait to see what the weather's going to be and then make a decision from there.
Okay. Well, good luck tomorrow, and I wish you the best. Have fun and enjoy it, man.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Hey, you're welcome. Have a good day, okay?
You too.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. We're continuing along with Ultraman with Chris Pollack here. He's already done with the race now. He finished yesterday, and he's ready to talk about the run day, which was 52 miles,
52.4.
Yeah, 52.4. So how are you feeling, man? It's the day after the race.
Feeling pretty good. Kind of sore. Right leg, calf area, and quads. My quads are a little sore. Up and down stairs is a challenge this morning. I'm not going to lie to you. But otherwise, all around, I feel great. I feel elated because I finished that race. Finally got it done.
Nice. So we'll just kind of back up a little bit. We talked before the run day. How was your sleep the night before the run?
My sleep the night before is I was in bed, unconscious, and out.
Wow.
And I got up early before everybody else, and I just kind of laid in bed and just waited till I heard someone get up. And then I finally got up, went downstairs, made my protein shake and my English muffin and my peanut butter, and waited for everybody else to get up. They made some scrambled eggs, had that, and out the door we went to the start line.
Wow. So did you have any chafing or irregular bowel movements or anything that might not be expected with this race going on for 3 days?
No, not at all. Actually, my GI system was absolutely perfect, which means that my crew gave me the correct nutrition through the whole entire thing, all the way through day 3. I didn't have any issues, nothing whatsoever, no stomach cramps, nothing you can even think of.
Wow. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was very cool.
So you got up on day 3. Were you stiff? Were you sore, fatigued? I mean, mentally you had to be feeling fatigued.
I was mentally feeling fatigued, and it was like I knew this was going to be a big challenge for me for the day. And this is something I didn't share with you earlier, but on December 23rd, I was in South Carolina, and I tore my plantar fasciitis in the heel. So it's still not healed. It wasn't healed the day of the race yesterday. So I had a couple doctors working with me, therapists, the physical therapy, and got me to the point of, here's what you need to do. We taped up my ankle, or taped up my heel, I should say, and got to the start line. And I'm thinking, how long is this going to last? Because they told me that it could possibly tear even more, which would be more pain than what I was in. But at race time, my pain level was on a scale of 1 to 10, being 10 the worst. My pain was probably around a 2. So I figured, hey, this is no problem. We're going to get going.
Wow. Now, I've done marathons before, and I've done 2 half marathons on the same weekend, a Saturday and a Sunday race. So I can understand a little bit about the fatigue that you're feeling, but you have more than a double marathon at the start line here. Or you actually have a double marathon at the start line here. How are you feeling mentally going into this, knowing that you had to really run the longest distance you ever run in your life?
Going into this, you think of how are you going to get through it. And as I told my crew, we're going to do 5 miles at a time. We're not thinking about 52.4. Every 5 miles, we just keep going. And then when we get to the halfway point, we start counting backwards. So we've got 24, 23, on and on to go through the race. Mentally, it was a beautiful morning. It was warm, but it wasn't that hot. I can't remember when the sun started to come out. And then you started to really start to feel the heat. Mentally, I was prepared for this race. I knew I had to get through it. I had to get to the finish line. And that was my only goal. I didn't care if I took last place. I just needed to get the finish line to get this, as I call, monkey off my back from the previous year where I didn't finish the race.
Right. So as far as your plan of executing 930 miles and you wanted to kind of ease into that, how did that work for you?
I started out really well. Actually, my first mile was at 8:34, 8:35.
Man, if you could just maintain that.
which was, I wish I could maintain that. It was a little hot. It was pretty hot. And then started backing it off. And I think around mile 9, I started slowing up because I could start to feel the pain in my heel. So basically the pain I was feeling was if you had a rock or a stone in your shoe, every time you stepped, it was in the same exact spot on your heel. So I put the mentally behind me and just kept moving forward. Around mile 18, it started to really hurt. It went from let's say a 2 pain to a 7 pain. And at that point, I knew I had to just keep moving forward. When I stopped, the pain was actually worse to actually walk. So it was more of just keeping me moving. I told my crew, let's just keep moving. Let's keep going. We're going to get there.
Wow. So walk me through, before we really get too much into the race, walk me through the start line here. You're among some of these people, and I think it was already 3 or 4 at this point had already DNF'd the race. And
Correct.
They're there too, more than likely, because this is really, like, they don't care if they don't finish or not because they want to see everybody else finish. It just speaks volumes of the race itself. But how was this atmosphere at the start line? What was this like?
At the start line, everybody's standing there. We all have headlamps on because we said 6 a.m. start is what it was. Everybody's, hey, good luck. You guys are going to be able to make it. Everybody at the start line was all positive. I mean, absolutely positive, cheering everybody on. Let's just get there. It's one big crew. And the thing was, we sat there, the countdown went, and then we took off. And then you had I want to call them elite runners. They were gone. I mean, they were gone. And there's no sense in chasing rabbits during this race because you've got 52.4 that you got to run. And it was just mile by mile. You just kept just keep running down that road. We went down roads. We went down trails. We went down, the clay roads. We'll get into that. That was hot. But everybody at that start line was positive that they knew that they were going to finish this race. And it was just a matter of just taking mile by mile.
Wow. So the first few miles, I remember talking with Morgan and Rich last year and even Jamie about how the first few miles was really like on a sidewalk with just, you find somebody, you run with them for a little bit because you can't have pacers yet. So it's really just the athletes. Is that the same way this year?
Yeah. So this year's start was for the first mile, you couldn't have any pacers with you because it was tight quarters through that was down a trail. So you found somebody that you ran with. I ran with my crew chief, Craig, who was doing the race this year. We ran for the first mile. And then I think mile 3, we kind of went back and forth. So I had somebody to talk to and keep me going through that first mile. We kind of talked about the race last year and, both of us decided, hey, we just got to get to the finish line because we're on day 3 and that's all we need to do. We didn't care where we were. So that was nice. It was nice having him in the race and I was real happy for him. It was his birthday. So to finish on your birthday is, pretty incredible.
Wow. So mentally, whenever you weren't talking with him, where was your mind going? Because this is a long way to run and you have to think about the distance at some point.
It is. You are in areas where you have nobody. It's kind of like on the bike. All of a sudden you have nobody. And even though you're with your pacer, there were times where I was just like, you know what? Don't talk to me. Let's just keep moving forward. Just keep me moving forward. And a lot of things go through your mind. What was your training like? Did I do enough training to actually get to the finish line? Should I have done more? Should I have done something different? All those thoughts start going through your mind, but you have to keep the positive thoughts to get you to that finish line. Once you start getting those mental thoughts into your head, that's where it's going to start to play with you. When you start doubting yourself, that's when you start to get in trouble. So basically, I just started thinking about positive thoughts about a lot of things, life in general, things in my life that would, to drive me to get to the finish line every day.
Man. So how are you able to actually kind of take those negative thoughts that would come in and push them out?
It's kind of tough sometimes. Sometimes you get a negative thought in your mind and it starts playing with you. It's like, boy, did I really do enough training here? Am I going to make it to there? Like I said, from December, whatever it was, through yesterday, I really haven't done much running. I think I probably had this is truth, probably about a total of maybe 15 miles in, because it's more rehab on my heel. So I knew that I had the endurance, but I wasn't sure if I had enough training in that period from December to yesterday, if I was going to be able to go there and have the endurance to keep going. Were my legs strong enough to carry me there? That's why I increased my biking and everything else that I had going to get there.
All right. So if we take a look at your splits for the first, say, 8 to 10 miles, I mean, I know that's a large number, but we have still more 42 left after that. But how are these miles going as far as pace-wise?
I was in the 10s. I wasn't at the 9:30 where I wanted to be. I was at a 10:05, and that was perfect. That was going to get me to the finish line. If I could stay on track for that within the time where I needed to be for the finish line, the 12 hours.
Okay. So you weren't really too worried about hitting your 9:30 pace yet. You were more focused on just getting within striking distance of the finish line and staying there, basically.
Correct. Yep, absolutely.
I say striking distance because I think there was another snake here on day 3.
There was a snake. There was another snake on day 3, but that was on the side of the road. And I don't know if someone had slayed that thing, but let me tell you, this snake was probably 6 to 7 foot long. And my crew chief that I was running with, Keith, he actually was like, holy cow. So I kept running, and he got a picture of it. And then he posted on Facebook, I just slayed lunch for Chris Pollack and I, and the phone just lit up with people just going, no way, no how. But this thing was, it was thick.
It was massive.
It was a big snake, absolutely big snake.
Man.
Yeah, never thought that thing was even out there, but it was big.
I mean,
but it wasn't alive this time, which was good.
Yes. Like, do you know what kind it was?
I have no idea. I know it was kind of silver color. That's all I can remember as I passed. The silver gray color is what it was.
And dead.
And dead and big.
The best kind of snakes in my eyes. Like, there's a guy named Terry that's on my Facebook. He is a snake handler for a reptile, whatever you want to call it. And he is a snake handling guy. Like, yeah, I'm good. But so you get through miles 10. How are your legs feeling fatigue wise? What's your nutrition going like?
Legs are feeling good. Rob became my nutritionist during the race. He was actually going to run with me, but he kind of knew a lot about nutrition and stuff, so he kind of kept me going through the race. I had a handheld water bottle in my hand, so every time we basically stopped, he would have a mix in there, whether it would be Pedialyte, Gatorade, base salt, and mixed with everything. And I told him we had a water bottle with me, but that was just kind of too hard to keep handing back and off. I said, just keep the mix in this hand one, and I'm going to do fine. And if we need something else, we can go from there. So we'd stop and we'd get a bunch of food along the way. We had sandwiches, ho-hos, chicken. Boy, what else did we have? Pretzels, potato chips, pickles, and you just keep eating. So they made sure that I had the 300 calories that I needed every hour along the way. Sometimes I had more because there's certain areas where they're called no feed zones, where cars can't pull over because the traffic is so tight that it would cause too much traffic jam. So there's certain areas along the race where they can't feed you. So they make sure that they have enough in you to get through those areas to get on the other side.
So you had chicken?
Chicken, yeah, we had chicken.
I can understand the sugar. I can understand all that fun stuff, but chicken is just like high protein. Your body's going to have to work harder to break it down. Why chicken?
Change of pace. Something else than what you were eating. I was telling everybody, if you can find a burger anywhere, I'll eat a burger. I don't care what it is. I'm tired of eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Give me something else that's going to taste different and just get me going. And it worked out really well. And I sat there, and in the morning there was this wild rooster that was in the tree, and Keith was doing a video, and the rooster must have crowed about 3 times. So later on that day when we pulled over, I said, "You remember that rooster we talked about in the morning? Well, we cooked him up over here, and it was kind of funny that they had the chicken in my hand, so it made for a really cool video. But yeah, anything you wanted to eat, you could just eat because your calories were just burning down.
Man, so did you weigh yourself before the race and after the race?
No, but I know
I wish we would have.
I know where I was before the race, basically, and after the race, I could tell you that I was a lot less. When we got to the clay roads, their heat index on the clay roads was 98 degrees, and that comes right at mile 24. So you come off the trails, and then you hit the clay roads. And I think this year's clay roads, I want to say they were like 6 or 8 miles, if not more. There was an out and back in there, and although there was a heat index was 98 degrees, it didn't feel like it because there was a breeze. But I'm telling you what, it just beat you down. I think I went through, from what Rob said, probably, I think 3 to 4 gallons of fluid, mixed Pedialyte, Gatorade, whatever it is, if not more, through that whole entire stretch. It was just constant drinking. And I didn't take a leak at all during that whole entire time. So you were sweating it out and burning it up.
Wow. So how was your paces from miles 10 through 20 before we get to the clay road? 10
through 20, I started to slow up because my heels started to hurt. And I was hanging right around 11s, which was perfect. 11 was going to get me there. Once I knew that I couldn't get that 9:30s, I figured, okay, what is going to get me to the finish line? Let's hang at this pace. So we went from 10:30s to 11s. And 11s were perfect. It was a perfect pace for me. I was kind of like shuffle running, if you want to call it that. And every time I hit the ground, you could hear like a scuff. So you knew that I was dragging my right leg during the run during that time. And once we got to the clay roads, it was more apparent because you could really hear it when I was hitting the clay roads every single time.
Well, so you gave up on the goal of 9:30.
Yep.
You had to just kind of kiss that idea goodbye. How hard was that for you? Because that was a good goal that you had going into this.
That's a good goal. Yeah. And I think that if I was 100% healthy, I would have hit that goal. I really wanted to stay at that pace. I tried for a while, but the pain just got overwhelming, and it was just too much. And it's finally like, okay, what do I have to do to get me to that finish line? And as we started running the clay roads, my pace started to decrease. And I think at one point I was in the 13s because there's a lot of hills in the clay roads. There's a lot of ups and downs. So you've got to, take that into consideration. You're walking up hills. You're trying to run back down the hill. You got a flat. You're going to open up just a little bit there. Now you got another hill in your face, right back. So there's rollers in there basically through this whole entire run of the clay road.
Long, gentle rollers, what I would describe it as.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's exactly what they are. Yeah. Just enough to take you where you've got to walk up that hill. Now I walk every hills. My good training partner, Chad, he always says it's wasted energy to run up a hill. You can walk up that hill and still be where you need to be when you get to the top. And it's a proven fact because you'll see people run up those hills and you'll pass them coming down the other side because they're already burnt out trying to get up that hill. So it's wasted energy on the hills for a long distance race.
Right. So you get to mile 20. You have 32 miles left. How are you doing mentally?
I'm doing mentally pretty good. I was getting a little fatigued, little down on myself because I wasn't where I wanted to be. But I was trying to stay positive. I mean,
so you were reflecting on your goal of 9:30,
correct,
and going, "Hey, I'm not going to hit that. Why did I ever set that in the first place?" And then trying to beat yourself up over that.
Correct. Yep, exactly. And I got to the point where I was like, okay, that goal was no longer attainable. Okay, what is my next goal? Let's set another goal so I can get there. And at that point, it became, if I could stay at a 11:30 pace is where I wanted to be, then I would be fine. Well, as we started running the clay roads, it got hotter, and I really started to get more fatigued because my foot started hurting more. And I was in the 13s. I was at 13. I would go from 12:30 to 13 through the whole entire thing. Once you got out of the clay roads, there was a road there, a regular road where you started to run. So we had stopped at to refuel me, rehydrate me, get me some energy in me, some sugar in me. And as I was sitting there, my crew was talking to Jeremy. He's one of the race officials there. And I don't know what they were talking about. And when I started running again, they put runner Shelly in with me. And I said to Shelly, I said, where am I? I says, no one's telling me where I'm at. Am I going to make it to the finish line? And she says, if you don't pick up your pace, you are not going to make it because you're so far behind. Now, when I got off the clay roads, I was in last place.
Really?
I had moved. Everybody had passed me because I was just starting to fall back.
And this is about, I think, what, mile 28, 29?
No, this is at mile. Let's see, there would have been 13 left after the clay roads to run. So right around 30, what was it, 30 something? And she says, if you don't get moving, you're not going to make it. And I said, okay, what time is it? And nobody would tell us what time it was because they didn't want me to know. So I said to her, I said, let's start going. So all these runners that had passed me through the clay roads started to really play mental on me because I knew that if I was in good condition, I could have stayed with all these people and kept going. So we started back out off the clay roads, and I went from 13-mile pace to 12-mile pace to 10 to 9, and then I was at 8:45s. So we were running at 8:45s, and we started clipping off runners. We clipped off, I want to say 19 runners through to the finish line, and that was a huge drive for me. It became more of a game for me. I'm a very competitive person, and everybody that knows me knows that I am a super competitive person. And when I see something ahead of me where it's attainable, I will try to get that person. So we started picking them off, and I'm like, okay, that one's gone, that one's gone, that one's gone. And then there'd be a huge gap where there'd be nobody. And then we just keep running. At one point, I said to Shelly, I said, if you can't keep up at this 8:45 pace, you've got to get somebody else in here that can keep up with me. So she said, no, I'll be able to do that. And we continued on, and then we slowed up the pace a little bit once we started picking off runners. My crew in the van couldn't believe the pace that I was running. I think the people that I started passing couldn't believe that I was coming from behind to get to the point. We got to one stop sign, and Jeremy was at the stop sign, and he says, what did you do? You kicked it into turbos. He says, I can't believe how far you've come. He says, right now you're in 25th place. He says, you've got more runners ahead of you. I think there's 4 or 5 of them. And I said, they're mine. And we just kept going. And as I kept going, I kept seeing the runners, and I would slowly get up on them and then pass them. And then we would just keep going. And then once we passed them, we would back off a little bit on the pace. So my strategy was pick it up, slow it back down, pick it up, slow it back down. And slowly I started picking them off. There was one runner that tried to stick with us, and Rich was running with him. And Rich says, man, when you passed me, I'm thinking, okay, we can stick with him. He's flying. Let's just stick with him. And he says, you just kept pulling away. And I'm thinking, there is no way we are going to get him. So finally, at getting close to the finish line, there was one last runner, and he was ahead. He was walking. And I said, we got to get him. I says, I think he's just going to walk in. I don't think he's going to run. And I didn't want to take his day away from him if we were that close. But we still had time to catch this guy. And we ended up passing him. And then it was just like, okay, now we can back off. I've got everybody in my sights that I wanted to get, and then came across that finish line. And I came across, and it was the best feeling that I have ever had for a race. I mean, it was relief. It was total relief when I crossed that finish line and broke down the tape, and everybody was hugging and cheering. It was quite the emotion at that point.
Wow. So to back up a little bit, you mentioned that you were kind of beating yourself up a little bit when the people were passing you on the clay road. Were you walking at that point whenever you were being passed?
I was running, and I was walking pretty much. I was walking all the hills, and it seemed like there was hills forever. It was like they wouldn't stop, but it was more of a mental thing that just trying to get up them. You start running back down them. And then all of a sudden you look up and you're like, oh man, there's another hill. How am I going to get through there? And yeah, all these runners, once they start passing you, you get into, I call it no man's land. There's nobody around you. You're the last person out there. And once you get to that point as a runner, bicyclist, whatever, it's hard to just keep moving because you have no drive to get forward. You can't see anybody. There's nobody around you. And then your pace starts to slow up. Mentally, your pace starts to slow up because you have nothing to drive you forward. I mean, even though you have a pacer with you, your mental state starts to just break you down. And you have to stay focused just to keep going at that point. So and that's what I did. I just kept going.
So at that point, how did you overcome that adversity of going, okay, I know nobody's around, but I'm just going to keep going because this race means a lot. Yeah, you know that you can get it in, but it's still so long and it's so hot. It's so easy just to say, you know what, I'm done. Because that's a temptation that obviously is there.
It's there. Trust me, it's there. And you're thinking, oh, just let me stop now. I'm done. I can't go anymore. But, my drive is, once I start something, I need to finish it. And I think because of what happened last year, that was my huge drive. And I just wanted to get to the finish line to get it done. So like I said, when we got off of that clay road and got onto that pavement and found out, man, it was just like, okay, something's got to motivate me. And the motivation was that I wasn't going to make it.
Well, so at that point, you could have said, hey, you know what? Being that I'm not going to make it, I'll just go ahead and hop in the truck right now, and they can just drive me back. I can go ahead and get in AC. I'll have me some cold water. I can sit my ass down. But yet, you didn't want to do that.
I didn't want to do that because in my heart, I knew that I could get there. I just needed some kind of motivation to get there. And you tell me that I can't do something, that's huge motivation for me because I'll prove you wrong that I can do it every single time. And just kept going forward. It was just like, okay, I got off the road. I started running on the grass. That felt better on my heel. And slowly but surely, I started picking it up. And then I started getting more motivated. Okay, now I got this. Okay, now I got that runner. Okay, how many more are ahead of me? And I just kept looking for them. And to me, it started to be a game, Okay, so where's my next one? Where's my next one? And I think that was my drive to keep, it was like pulling me to the finish line. The more I got further ahead of them, the more I knew that I was going to be able to make it in that time frame of the 12 hours. So, at one point they said, hey, just back it down. You've got it. You're in. You got no problem right now. Even if you walk the last mile, you'll be able to get to that finish line. Well, I didn't want to walk in. I wanted to run in. So we just kept moving. But you get to that point out there sometimes, and mentally you start to break down. You truly do. But you have to dig deep, and that's one of the sayings I said, dig down deep. I say that a lot to everybody. When you get to that point of where you think you can't go no more, you've got to dig down deep in your soul, into your legs, that drive that's going to get you there. A lot of people think they don't have it. You have it. You just have to tell yourself, I physically can get to that point. And once you get there, past that, in that mental state, it all becomes easier. And I think at around a mile with 10 left, it started to become a lot easier for me to accept that, yep, I'm going to get there, but I want to get there better than where I was when I got off those roads.
Okay. So I know you said that it's kind of like a negative motivation where somebody says that you can't do something, you have to prove them wrong. But Shelley didn't necessarily say that, hey, you're not going to make it. She didn't say, hey, you can't do it. She just said, you're not on track right now to finish.
Mm-hmm, correct. And they told her to keep me at 12:30s, and that would have brought me in probably within minutes of the cutoff time. And I didn't want to play that game because anything could have happened. If I can regain what I had there in like 5 miles and get a little backing, that was exactly what I wanted to do. So as I started to pick up pace, I got that backing, and then it started to get easier. Okay, now I got 10 minutes. I've got 12 minutes. I got 14 minutes. I'm getting better at this. So it just kept me more motivated to just keep going to see how much more that I could get. You're right. They didn't say, hey, you can't make it. We're going to get you there. But they had that pace that they wanted me to stay at. And physically, I knew I had more. And mentally, I knew that I could run faster than what I was at that point.
Okay. So as far as the data side of things, what data screens did you want to look at while you were on the run?
What was that one more time?
What kind of data did you actually want to look at on your watch during the run?
What I was looking at is what my pace was. I had it set up so I could see average pace, current pace, and then overall time is what I had set up on there. And when I looked at the overall time and calculations in my head, I knew when she had told me, I've got to pick it up. And I could see where it was. And I did the calculation. I'm thinking, man, 12:30s is going to be like with a minute or 2 minutes. And that's way too close to trying to make it at that point. So once I started looking at my watch and could see that I was getting my pace picked up, my overall average started to drop, and it started to drop back down from, I think I was at, I want to say 11:45 or 12 something when I got off the road. It started to drop back down. So I knew I was picking up the pace, and I was going to be able to get where I needed to go.
Wow. So talk about your legs a little bit. How much soreness, fatigue, and cramping was in your legs at mile 45 to 50? How was that?
Surprisingly, I think I blocked it out is what I did.
So when did you start to block that pain out?
I think I started to block that pain out when I had basically about 10 miles left. Because I was cruising. I was so focused. I was in the zone, if you want to call it the zone. I was in the zone, and really nothing mattered to me whatsoever. I didn't feel my heel. I didn't feel my foot. I didn't feel my quads. I didn't feel nothing. All I kept feeling was my legs just pushing me and driving me forward. And at one point it was like, wow, I don't feel like I've got 45 miles in. I got 46 miles in. I shouldn't feel this good right now. And when we got towards, I'd say a quarter mile left, all of a sudden you could start to feel everything. I think it was the adrenaline rush just kind of faded, and then reality set in. Hey, there's the finish line. I'm going to get there. And then you actually started to feel everything. Your quads were burning. Your calves were burning. I mean, it was there. It was reality. The pain was there, but you only had a quarter mile to go. And if you can't handle that for a quarter mile after running, 50 miles, 51 miles, you ain't going to be able to do it. So I just kept going.
Wow. So as you approach the finish line, paint the picture of what it's like to actually finish this race for you, because I know you have the black Ultraman arch there. The clock isn't obvious. The photographer's not obvious. I know it's in like this parking lot down a road that's nicely shaded. What was this like for you?
Your crew meets you part of the way down that finish line, so your crew can finish with you. That's the only point the whole crew can run with you. At that point, Shelly was with me. We're running down the chute there, if you want to call it the chute, the walkway. And all of a sudden you see that arch, and there's 3 stop signs that are along this finish line. And of course you've got to stop at every finish line. So every stop sign that is there.
All right, hold on. Before you get there, the feeling that what was the feeling like whenever your crew started joining you? I mean, you had one pacer with you, but then all of them joined you.
Oh my God. When they got to me, it was the greatest feeling. They all did their job. And the one job was to get me to that finish line. So when we started out that day, I told them, I don't care where we finish, just get me there. And we started out. Everybody grouped together. We did the flying V, if you want to call that. I was in the center, 2 on each side. And it just became fun. It became reality. As you saw it getting closer,
I couldn't believe it was going to happen. And then as we get closer, all the emotion starts to set in. Basically you work a whole entire year for one goal. And that goal became reality. All your hours on the bike, all your hours swimming, all the time your friends wanted to say, hey, let's go out and do something. And they don't understand what it's like to be, I guess, an ultra athlete where you have, so much invested into this that you can't go do this or you can't go do that. You have to get your training in. You got to stick with it. And, it's hard to make up days when you're trying to train for something like this. I mean, one day of missing a 2-hour bike ride might not seem like a lot, but it is. It really is, because now where are you going to make it up? And all that emotion just came in at that point to that finish line. And to have everybody there, and they worked as an awesome team. I mean, Keith, Rob, William, and Shelly, they did an amazing job to get me to my goal of the finish line. And as we got closer, it just became reality. And then there's the tape. You got the arch, you got the tape. And instead of busting through it, we just walked through it. And my hands went up, and I was so excited. And then everybody around you, that knows you from last year came over and started hugging you. And then the emotion just set in, absolutely just set in. And it was probably the greatest feeling to know that maybe last year I could have finished it, but not sure. But this year, it's reality, and it happened, and I'm glad that it's done.
Man, so the way you make it seem is this isn't like, hey, here's a bunch of people that are just coming up giving you a sideways hug, hey, good job. No. This is hey, I'm giving you a full-on Big Brother bear hug, and
absolutely.
We're all crying because we all know what you went through to get here.
Yeah, and and people have done it before, so they know what it's like. I mean, they know the experience. They know exactly what the feeling is when you cross that finish line. It is the best emotion you ever wanted to have in your life for a race. I mean, when you cross that finish line, it's relief. It is like, oh my gosh, I did it. And then everybody around you, like you said, it's not just coming up giving you a hug. They're giving you a hug. I mean, oh my God, congratulations, you did it. In spite of what you did last year, you didn't finish last year. This is a great accomplishment for you. And that's the one thing I said after I had the crash last year. I said, I will be back. I've got to get this finished. And now I don't know what I'm going to do. You're going to go. I mean, when you have a race like this, you'll go through probably within 2 weeks, you're going to have a downside. I mean, you're going to crash. You're going to be like, you're going to get lonely. You're going to get, what do I do? I have nothing to do now, and you were constantly training, and now you're kind of like settling down. So you sit there and you're like, okay, what am I going to do? Okay, what's the next crazy race that I can find to do? I don't know if there's any crazy races that I want to do currently, but I've got a couple, half Ironman, full Ironman. They're going to be like nothing compared to this. But I got a half Ironman that I want to do this year, and I want to hit the podium. That's my next goal. I want to be in the top 3 in that one. Last year I was 11th in my age group, so I think this year I should be able to hit hopefully that podium, and that's what I want to do.
Wow. So what one meal did you not have in training that now you're going to reward yourself with?
Oh, man. I'm telling you, you put off a lot of stuff. But there's a place called the Red Eye in Wausau where I live. And they have got these amazing burgers. And I think that's going to be my reward, is one of the burgers on the menu. I didn't have that. And that's going to be the number one meal that I'm going to go back to. And they got great beer too there. So, you got to have both.
Nice. So, man, we talked about a lot. What did we leave out as far as Ultraman goes? I know we hit on almost every single day. Did you see anything funny on the last day that stood out in your mind?
Oh my gosh. Some of the crews, Their vans are all done up with all kinds of lettering, all kinds of sayings. Team Donovan. If you check out Facebook for Ultraman, you'll see Team Donovan. They had all kinds of crazy stuff, and they were doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And as you pass them, I mean, they're telling you, hey, keep going. You're almost there. But I think the biggest thing about Ultraman is it's, like I said when I first started, it's family. It's a big group of people that want to see everybody finish, and they're going to do everything they can to get you there. It's not like any other race. You got your Ironman, but your Ultraman, you become part of a family and a big group of people that not many people do this kind of craziness, and they understand what you're going through. It's a fun event. It's a lot of training, and Chuck and Jen who run it, they do an amazing job, and they make it fun for you. They want you to succeed. I don't know, the people, the groups, the friends you make are lifetime friends. Morgan was there when I finished the race, and he, gave me a big hug, and he gave me a training plan for working out my legs to get the strength of the legs. And I, told him I appreciated that. Rich was there. A lot of my friends were there that I met last year, and they waited for me to come across the finish line. So that meant the world to me.
Wow. I mean, I know Morgan definitely, and Rich, I mean, I can't express enough gratitude towards them because, I mean, I feel like I could reach out to any of them and they just, hey, I need you here in Texas, and they'd be on the next flight. Like, they're that close to me, So you've done Ultraman now. You want to get on the podium at a 70.3 later this year. But what races are on your bucket list now? Now that this is checked off, you've done the Ironmans before, but what else is on your bucket list?
I think I'd like to do actually another Ultraman. Totally Healed, as I'd like to do one. I mean, Arizona's coming up, but that's a little too quick for me. I would actually like to do another one, maybe next year, Florida. I'm not sure yet. I'm looking for a 200-mile run is what I would like to do. I'd like to do some kind of ultra running next is what I would probably like to do. Maybe a 100-miler, maybe a 200-miler. I love running. And if I can get someone to crew me for that race, I would actually do that because that's something I'd want to do.
Wow. So looking back on the sport kind of objectively for yourself, what is your dream for the sport for you?
I'm going to continue. I'm going to keep doing what I do. It's in my blood. It's something that I really enjoy doing. I love the competitive part of it. I love to just get out there and have fun. I run with Team Triumph, and I want to do more with them and help other people achieve their goals. That's one of my biggest things. I want to maybe now towards not have this underdone with, I can start helping other people train for Ironmans or 5Ks or whatever it is, so they can reach their goals and get the feeling that I had crossing the finish line yesterday.
Wow. So are you going to get the tattoo?
I'm going to get a tattoo. You betcha.
You are?
I don't know when. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'll get the Ironman and the Ultraman now. That's my biggest
Why
goal.
do both? Just do the Ultraman. I mean, one kind of trumps the other there.
Well, when you're running down that road and someone sees, hey, there's the Ironman. Well, what's that other one over there? I don't know. We'll see. I don't know where I'm going to put it yet. Maybe on my calf or on my shoulder. I'm not sure. But, yeah, absolutely. I will be getting the Ultraman tattoo.
Wow. So was Ultraman Florida everything that you hoped it was?
Absolutely.
Or would be?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It was a brand new course. Going into here before they changed the course, I'm thinking, okay, I got some advantage here. I know the course. I know where stuff is, but it was all changed. I mean, it was.
Why did they change it?
They made it all in one area. So your start and finish was at every single area except for the third day. The other day, the last time you started at different places and finished at different times. So this worked out much better. It was a beautiful facility. The hospitality of the town was just amazing. Loved it altogether. I just love it. It's in my blood, and it's something that's going to stay there for a while till I can't do it anymore, basically.
Wow. So all this training and all this race stuff aside, what is 2 things you'd want somebody to be aware of that is thinking of doing this race next year?
2 things that you'd want to be aware of is you have to put your time in. Number 1 thing is be aware that you've got to put your time in. If you want to reach these goals of these 3 days, you have to be disciplined enough to do the training and stick with the training in order to get through every single day. Number 2, if you have any doubts in your mind, put them out of your mind, because there's other people that believe in you. And if those people believe in you, stick with them, because they're the people that are going to get you to that finish line. Those are the people that you want on your crew. Those are the people that you're going to want to train with. Stick with those people. Take your doubters, put them to the side, because when people believe in you, you will get there. Like Chad, I met Chad 2.5 years ago, and this guy is absolutely amazing. He, when I met him, we became friends instantly. Absolutely instantly, we became friends, and we became like competitors at everything we did. We go out for a training run. He gets ahead of me, I get ahead of him. If he gets ahead of me, I get ahead of him. So we're constantly going back and forth. But he's done some crazy races that I've trained with him a lot. And when he told me to sign up for this, I'm thinking there's no way I would ever even think of doing those distances. And today I thanked him. I said, I thanks for believing in me. And he's a person that believes in a lot of people. And if he can see your potential, he'll get you to that point and get you to that finish line.
Wow. That reminds me of an episode I did. It was episode 145 with a guy named Tom Deakins. And he did this race in Iceland called Fire and Ice. Have you heard of that?
Yes, I've had.
Oh, yeah. So you got to do Fire and Ice, man.
Yeah, I know. I could put that on my bucket list.
Yeah, he said the finish medal was like the size of a dinner plate.
Exactly.
There's a positive of it.
Yep.
Because personally, I don't know of that many positives other than how big the medal is of that race. There's, I think, 2 glacial river crossings or 3.
Yeah, that'd be the tough part.
I'm not good with the cold.
My feet freeze instantly in the cold, so I don't know if I'd be able to handle that one.
Oh man!
But there is the North Pole Marathon that I have watched many episodes on, and I would love to do the North Pole Marathon just to say that I did it. And there's only like 35 people that do this every year, but you go there and sometimes they say we can't do it because the weather's so crappy. Yes, there's polar bears you'd have to contend with, and there's someone out there watching for polar bears. But the weather gets so extreme at times that they don't even hold the race. So it's a hit or miss, basically, if you do that race. But I love the cold weather, So that might be one thing that maybe I'd be interested in that.
One of my earlier episodes was with Kitty Cole at Ironman 70.3 Campeche. And Kitty is one of the athletes that I've interviewed that has done a Antarctic marathon, which was in the Arctic Circle.
Mm-hmm.
And it was on a ship deck, and her counter fell asleep, and she actually ended up doing close to 30 miles instead of just 26 on a ship deck where she had to do like some ungodly number, like 800 and something laps, I think it was, on the ship deck. And her counter fell asleep, and she ended up doing like an extra 4 or 5 miles. But being that it was in the Arctic Circle, she was able to get the marathon and count that as that continent towards the 7 continents.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so it was on the ship, and she got it. But, that was like an interesting story. I think that was episode number 12, like way
I'll have to go
back.
back and see if I can find that one.
Yeah. Oh, it's still up.
Okay.
Man. Well, so, Chris, I only have one more question for you before we wrap up here, and that's, what's your definition of a perfect race?
I think my definition of a perfect race is teamwork. It takes a team. It takes a crew to have a perfect race. I believe this race was a perfect race for me. Everybody pulled together for me. Everybody did what they needed to do. Everybody knew their job, if you want to call it that. to get me to that finish line. So teamwork is the number one thing for a perfect race, whether it's your crew, your trainer, your coach. That's what a perfect race is all about. And finishing the race is what it is. Excuse me, is getting there.
Wow. Well, Chris, this has been awesome tracking you through Ultraman and getting to kind of break it up into one episode broken up into days. Like, this is going to be pretty fun to put out. Hopefully this will be out tomorrow, man. Or if not tomorrow, probably Wednesday, okay?
Terry, I appreciate your time very much.
Hey, you're welcome. You have a good day, okay?
Thanks, you too.
Bye. Thanks for tuning in today. I hope you were able to learn something from today's episode. If you enjoyed the show, please take a minute to leave a review on iTunes or share it with a friend. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. If you'd like to see pictures from this athlete's race, learn more about who I am, what I'm doing, or be on the show yourself to share your story, check out my website at CoachTerryWilson.com. Until next time, continue the pursuit.